When asked about Green's latest jab, that he'd be coming for Chuck's job, Barkley said Draymond is the least important member of a boy band, but doesn't even realize it. Barkley said this while appearing on John Calipari's Facebook show. Shannon, any truth to what Barkley is saying? This thing won't end.
Skip, I wish they let this go, Skip, because I think now it's becoming personal, more personal than it should. I understand that Charles has a job to do. His job is critique and analyze, but I think when you start to make comments like that, and Draymond has gotten personal also, I think, but what we're having here, Skip, is that neither player feels that they're being given proper credit for their contributions. Skip, and I know Charles Barkley retired in 2000. I remember Charles Barkley's career very well. And people, Skip, they look at him now and he's really out of shape, and I'm being nice about it. He's had his hip replaced, and he walks, and people just think, oh, he's just a blowhard. Skip, do people realize Charles Barkley was a hell of a player? Charles Barkley is one of 6 players, let this sink in right now, Skip, one of 6 players to end his career averaging at least 22 points and 11 rebounds. Here are the others: Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Elgin Baylor, Bob Pettit, and George Mikan. He ended his career 22 and 11. Charles Barkley was 6'4" and was a power forward. So in other words, he's the height of some point guards and 2 guards. He played power forward in the 80s and the 90s, and he did that. So he looks at it like, Draymond, bruh, you keep telling everybody that you're better than me, bruh, in no way, shape, or form are you better than me. And I agree with Charles. Draymond, you won 3 titles. You're Defensive Player of the Year. You're not a better player than Charles Barkley. And that's the notion, Skip. Sometimes people, the 3rd, 4th, 5th best player on a championship team, win championships, and they believe because a guy that's an all-time great didn't win a championship, they're greater than them. No, you're not. No, you're not. Skip, I look at it like this, and I'll take my career. Draymond, this is what I do for you. When I look at my career, Skip, I had a very good career, Skip. I went to Pro Bowls. I was an All-Pro. I won 3 Super Bowls. I'm in the Hall of Fame. Skip, I was not more important than TD. I was not more important than John Elway. But that's okay. Just because I was not as important as those guys, do I believe they could have won a Super Bowl without me? No. I'm not more important than Ray Lewis and those guys on that defense. But do I believe they could have won a Super Bowl without me? No. That's okay. Draymond, you're not Steph. You're not Clay, you're not KD, but I don't believe they could have won a championship without you. That's okay. Skip, there are levels to this. You can be in a band, and Charles used the band. He said, bro, you up there yelling and screaming. Then you don't realize they can't see Justin Timberlake. You just happen to be in the group that's with Justin Timberlake, that Justin Timberlake sings in. And it was funny, Skip, but they're getting personal now. You know, and Charles is not going to let it go. Draymond's not going to let it go, so I don't know when this thing's going to end. But Charles is right, Skip. Draymond, I don't believe they would have won those titles without Draymond. But Draymond is trying to make himself more important than what he is. He was a great contributor. He's a Defensive Player of the Year. But, Skip, Steph and Clay and KD is where it's at.
Okay. Quick point of order. I think we just heard the all-time humble brag from Shannon Sharp. I wasn't those guys, but they couldn't have won without me. But that's okay. I appreciated it. It was sly.
Skip, I don't believe they could have.
The way you termed it.
No.
Yeah, okay. I don't. All right, back to the question at hand. And I'm just going to keep it on these guys. I'm just going to talk about Charles and Draymond. I agree with you. It has gotten too personal. I'm not sure it's about player versus player in this case, but if you want to make it that, I'll give you Charles was much more productive than Draymond. I don't think Charles was a more valuable player than Draymond has been for his team. I never loved Charles winning intangibles because I think they were low. I think he could fill that stat sheet. He could stuff it like few have ever been able to at 6 feet 4 inches tall. Below the rim rebounder, round mound of rebound, did a lot with that big caboose behind him. But the point was, and he was a very gifted scorer, we know that. But when it came to winning time, as Magic termed it, Charles often wasn't where he needed to be when he needed to be there. He couldn't be counted on like Draymond was counted on pre-KD. Remember, in that 2015-16 season, they set the record. They won 73 games, and Draymond was extremely valuable to that team because, to me, and I think this is getting lost in the shuffle of this scuffle, if you will, Draymond was the glue of that team. He was the guts of that team.
Yes.
He was the enforcer on that team. He was the trash-talking bad cop because Steph is the baby face and Clay is the super nice guy and Iguodala is the all-around great guy. And it was a fun team to be on, but you needed, when push came to shove, somebody who would shove. And Draymond would shove. He would push back. And sometimes to a fault. I'll get to that in just a second. But if you look at that 2015-16 season, Draymond went 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Not huge numbers, but across the board, that's pretty great.
That's very good.
And as you know, the next year, he was the Defensive Player of the Year, and he led the league in steals. So he had high value in little ways. That team needed somebody to do the dirty work, and he did all-star dirty work for them because he did make 3 all-star teams, and he did make first-team All-NBA a couple of times, and he was 5 times All-Defense. Okay, that's all pretty great, you know? It's pretty great.
Yeah.
And I get, you know, okay, so you're the one guy, you're the last member of the boy band. Well, the boy bands, they're going to live forever. They're immortal, and so are you because you're on there. But maybe you're singing something contralto. You know, they need somebody to blend in, somebody to harmonize, and maybe you're the key piece of the harmony that the other guy, that Justin Timberlake needed. He's saying high, you sang low. Okay, I get it. But let's not discount what he meant to that team. And by the way, when they did get to that fateful finals that saved your bacon and saved LeBron's, when they came from 3-1 down to win it, won Game 7 at Oracle, do you remember what happened at Oracle that night? Draymond Green
was on fire.
went 32, 15 rebounds, and 9 assists. 32, 15, and 9? Are you kidding me? That's sensational. He was in position, Shannon, to win MVP of the series if Steph could have made one big shot down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Remember what he did in the fourth quarter? He was just horrible. Like 1 for 6 from 3 and had the turnover. You know, he needed to make one big shot, or Draymond needed to make one more shot, and Draymond would have been MVP of the finals to me. But what had happened in Game 4? Well, obviously, the best thing that ever happened to LeBron happened because Draymond lost it. He lost his poise. He lost his cool. He lost his self-control. And he got into it with LeBron, and he yelled out the B word at him. You're a B, and the first 3 rows of the stands could hear it. I can't remember if you could hear it on national TV. I think not. But Kiki Vandeweghe, who meted out the punishment for the NBA, was in the first row, and he heard it loud and clear. And that's a line you can't cross. And Draymond had, he'd already done some kicking in the groin region. And he was on the clock already with Kiki. And Kiki said, I'm going to suspend him. That's enough. And obviously they went up the court then and got into it again, and he kicked in LeBron's groin region, and that's it. And he is gone for Game 5. And I submit to you, I do not believe that your man, LeBron, could have come back from 3-1 down if Draymond had not been gone for Game 5. It turned the whole season around. The Golden State Warriors suddenly got exposed. They didn't have a lot of heart. They didn't have their backbone. They didn't have Draymond. And once the momentum turned, it turned like crazy, like gangbusters. And once LeBron and Kyrie seized the momentum, and JR, it was over, man. They just blew through him from then on, and obviously Kyrie hit the final shot of Game 7, and the rest is NBA history. So, again, that's how valuable Draymond was. You saw how valuable when he wasn't there in Game 5.
Right.
So I just think getting lost in all this is, yeah, pre-KD, Draymond